Okay, so I have my guest in the studio, and Bright Demoji is a member of parliament for Botiano English and Mamfro. And you look splendid. A very good morning to you and Happy New Year to you. We haven't met this year.
Yes. Thank you very much. I wish you the same.
Yes, please. How's your constituency doing?
Yes, we are working.
You still haven't convened your primaries, have you?
We did.
Oh, you did. You won, eh?
Yes.
Brightonly.
By the grace of God.
Amen. But we would have to look at this because the Dankwa Institute has been talking about some few things since the last part of yesterday, and would want to look at the subject of elections. And the think tank Dankwa Institute wants the Electoral Commission to postpone the limited registration exercise they have scheduled for next month, that we're talking about March. According to the Institute, this will give the Electoral Commission time to incorporate a process of voter validation for the registration exercise. And so it means that they want a validation processes undertaken at the same time. People have to come, make sure that their fingerprint and things, and whether really they are expected to be in the register in the first place. And the validation exercise recommended by the Justice VC RAC CRAP panel is a mandatory process which will allow registered voters to confirm their details in the register. And Mr. Kwaku says over 600,000 ghost names could be deleted if the validation is allowed. What do you make of this?
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning to your cherished viewers, especially those who are watching and they are around Botiano English amount from my constituency, to be specific. You see, before I go into that, I have a special difficulty with regard to those institutions that we call think tanks in this country. Think tanks. I don't know, because I know in a developed world, when we talk about think tanks, then we mean people who have experience in certain areas, who have retired or who have some level of expertise in certain areas, and they have formed institutions to contribute to the democratic dispensation of a country. You see,
yeah,
so
true.
sometimes
you're very right.
Yeah, sometimes we should be looking at people or institutions who call themselves think tanks and the qualifications of members and the expertise of those people who constitute themselves as think tanks. Because this particular institute are the one, if I remember, if my memory set me right, talking about these biometric registrations before 2000. Seriously, Dankwa Institute was on the Electoral Commission that with biometric verification, there's not going to be any problem at all.
Let me just break you. According to the online dictionary we have, a body of experts, that's think tank, a body of experts providing advice and ideas on specific political or economic problems. True, so you're right.
So I'm right. You see,
and they conduct research.
Yes, and you can, if you go back and you check, you can see the level of noise.
Because they are raising concerns you consider to be noise.
I mean, that is why
you question their credibility.
If you say that is your expertise and you make a contribution, and an institution like the Electoral Commission take your advice and work on it, if there's a problem, you must take up a responsibility. Because if they are now claiming that there's a problem about biometric registration from day one, that we should go for a new register, then they should take up that responsibility and accept the fact that they are the major contributors.
They are not saying we should go for. We had a committee of eminent persons. They looked at.
No, I've not reached there.
Okay, we haven't even reached there.
No.
You're talking about what they have said in the past. And how you're just supposing their relevance, etc.
Yes. You see, but honestly speaking, I have raised questions when this issue of new voters register was raised by the same institute, and I raised issues about citizenship. That before we can be considering even thinking of a new register, we should deal with the issue of citizenship first. And it's the same thing they are raising. Assuming that we want to have a new register today, how are we going to resolve the same issue? Now only limited registration. They are raising the same issue. This is the issue we're talking about. That if you go in for a new register now, how do you identify somebody as a citizen? So if we should go back and say you're going to have even limited, we are having problem.
By your experience, what is a limited registration exercise?
Those who are 18 years.
And have not been captured in the last register.
No, those who are now 18 years.
From the last time we compiled.
Yes. and then maybe for some reason you are not able to register. That's limited. So if those people, even we have difficulties with regard to their citizenship, what about if you are going to do a new one? So they are only dancing around the point. They should not waste the time of electoral commission, because we are moving according to the timetable. Even the timetable for some of us is very, very tight, because we are going to have elections.
Has the electoral commission brought to the parties a timetable?
Yes, when they came with a timetable in Parliament, when we met the electoral commissioner, he gave us a
Well, you may be worried that Dan Kwansu is raising this, but we also have been reported, for example, by CTFM Online, that the executive director of the Institute of Economic Affairs, that's the IEA, has also said Ghana is not fully prepared for the November poll. She said she was yet to be done in ensuring, she said much was yet to be done in ensuring successful poll. She was having an interview with the station and said the Electoral Commission needs to immediately start a voter education exercise to sensitize Ghanaians on their civic responsibilities. And he said she said the sensitization will also be critical. I don't know whether only the sensitization alone, if not done early, would constitute not being ready.
That's why when people make blank statements like that, I have a difficulty with it.
Why do you have a difficulty?
Sensitization.
For many of the times we've had a number of votes that have been spoiled.
You see, he said,
and much also attributed because
we are not ready.
Voters have not been sensitized.
He said electoral commission is not ready, and he pointed to a specific point about sensitization, and I'm saying that sensitization of election, of how to vote and all that, is not only a responsibility of electoral commission.
It's a responsibility of the NCC,
National Commission for Civic Education,
and other stakeholders.
And other stakeholders can do that job. And for you, because of sensitization, to say the electoral commission is not ready, there are a lot of issues that are involved. If you raise other issues, we can have a discussion. But if you say just because of sensitization, from now up to November 7th, sensitization can be done by bodies, constitutional instituted bodies like National Commission for Civic Education, which is across the length and breadth of this country. What is important is to resource them and for them to be creative and innovative, because they are institutions, they are corporate Ghana, who will be ready to help National Committee for Civic Education. So those who are the realm of affairs of NCCE should lift up their game. Because for me, even if they come to join this and they want assistance, corporate Ghana will be ready to help them. Because honestly speaking, if you look at the spoiled ballot, sometimes it's irritating.
Now let's revert back to the subject of the institute. They want a validation process also added to the limited registration period.
Yes, added to that. You see, if you say the Electoral Commission should postpone the limited registration, what is the alternative that two bodies are proposing?
It's a validation.
What do they mean by validation? What do they mean? If you say validation, you see, we should not be jangling with English words. If you say validation, what do you mean? They said that, okay, for them, as far as the system is concerned, if somebody who is a registered voter is able to prove that you are citizens of Ghana, you can register. But there's another alternative. If you also feel that this person is not a citizen of Ghana, there's a form for you to fill again. That despite this man says you are a citizen, I am also saying that you are not a citizen. And they will meet for you to prove beyond doubt that you are a citizen. So the Electoral Commission has put in some structures. If you feel that you have an alternative idea, a concept, but just to say that they should postpone, I've not seen any proposal from Dankwa Institute and the Electoral Commission, Institute of Economic Affairs, proposing. If they say validation, what does it mean? If you say you are a citizen of Ghana, you're coming to register, and myself, I'm a registered voter, and I'm a Ghanaian, and I say, yes, it is true.
But we do, as political party members, and even the media, we all do acknowledge that there are people who are not supposed to be on the register who are on the register.
Who? If you can prove that, there are processes to expunge it.
Okay.
Clearly, if you see, let's see.
Prior to the last election in 2012.
Yes.
And I remember actively, I was also a stakeholder because I was a media person.
Yes.
At the end of the period, the Electoral Commission came out with a press conference prior to the election and showed publicly pictures which gave the indication that the images there were minors. But validly, they had ages that had been authenticated and put there by the officers of the Electoral Commission, supervised by party agents at the various registration centers. So indirectly, we are aware that there are people who are not supposed to be there.
So somebody is not doing his work. But not somebody is not doing his work because the recruitment of officers of Electoral Commission are purely temporal. And they are agents
of the parties.
Of the party and stakeholders who are involved. So if you are sitting down there as an agent of a political party or as a citizen of this country, because normally we are in queue.
So therefore,
I don't think
as a result of that,
people go there secretly to go and register.
Is it not a lot more prudent then if we expunge those names from the register?
No, the point is that there is opportunity for us to expunge those names.
That is why the Dan Constitution is saying that we need to validate already the names we have in the register, and by so doing, we should use the period prior to any limited registration period that we have set aside as a country by the Electoral Commission to make sure we do that.
I don't have any difficulty with that. But the point I'm making is that, you see, to try and truncate the timetable of the Electoral Commission and the consequences of truncating the register of the Electoral Commission is something that I think that we should look at again. If you are proposing a validation, you can propose, but to say that because of validation you want to truncate the timetable of the Electoral Commission, that's where I have a difficulty with, because the Electoral Commission stated clearly that all the processes they were going through with regard to their petition is to ensure that they take out some of those names. Auditing of the register is one thing that is in the calendar of the Electoral Commission, that they want to ensure that they audit the Electoral Commissioner and they even the register, and they even says when we met with the Electoral Commissioner that the chairman, the chairperson, that they are even recruiting experts to assist them to do this work. So yes, ensuring that some of those names are not in the register is key, and there's nowhere in the world that you compile a register or you have a database that is error-free. Definitely, it's a degree of error that we are talking about. So if there's any system or if there's not technology that can be put in place to ensure that we expand some of those names, to ensure that we have some level of a reduced degree of error, that would be comfortable. But you see, not even that. If you are going to vote and somebody suspected that the person is a minor, it's not only that your name in the register. Voting, people are standing there from morning to night. You can count the number of people that are there, the number of political parties and their agents. That's how come you see that the turnout is always low if you compare the turnout, because they know on that election day the level of eagerness and the seriousness of the agent and everybody. If you go and even register in a corner or on the blind side of those agents on the registration day, on the day of election you can't go and vote.
So you're saying that there will be a limited chance for people to undertake fraud or whatever?
Yeah, I've been at the police state centers for several hours. I've never seen any.
And similarly on elections, the minority in Parliament says a new voters registration proposal which allows a registered voter to guarantee for 5 people who cannot prove their citizenship, let's say in a registration area, is a recipe for chaos. I don't know whether you've heard about this in Parliament.
Yeah, that's what I was contributing towards from the beginning, that I'm saying that.
The Vice Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, Kofi Onsayameyao, revealed that the minority is incensed as C-172 currently being scrutinized by the Parliamentary Subcommittee. In the absence of a national identification system, proof of citizenship in Ghana is limited to driver's license, passport, or birth certificate. It is believed that many Ghanaians do not have access to these certificates as proof of citizenship, not all. Okay, and under the new regulation proposed by the Electoral Commission, that is to mitigate this, they propose the voter has to fill the form to guarantee for up to 5 others whose citizenship is difficult to determine. But I believe also in the presence of party agents. Is that not it?
You see,
But they're raising concerns about.
Yes, I mean, this is not the first time. In the last election, in the last registration, it's the same thing. They have not changed anything. That's how I say that the issue of citizenship is a problem in this country. What do we use to determine if somebody is a citizen? It's a problem because if you say, we said driving license, we said passport, we said that, we said that. But the bottom line is that what can we use as a country? Because the fact that I have license does not make me a citizen. But that's what we use. And even beyond that, if we even say that we are going to even use birth certificate, honestly speaking, is it difficult for a foreigner to obtain birth certificate in this country? Is it difficult?
You tell me. You're a member of parliament. You should tell me whether it's very easy. Have you been able to help foreigners get access to birth certificate?
No, not at all. But I'm saying that our systems, are they free enough to withstand the point that if somebody is a foreigner, he will not be able to have birth certificate? So those are the issues we're saying that...
That's a critical question.
Those are the issues we need to look at first before we say that, okay, fine. If we are able to put all these systems in place, and then we can say that, okay, fine. Since we are able to put all these systems in place, then we can go in for a new register now.
Okay. I know my next question and the content of it is not illegal. It's not enshrined in law. But we know that the party agents and the other stakeholders who monitor the election are critical. How are we also placing them in all this perspective, even though we always want to say the legal issues? Because beside the legal issues are also moral issues. It's not enshrined in law, but the party agents also are supposed to be scrutinizing the election. I mean, as far as my experiences have been, and I've been covering elections since the year 2000.
You see, there are a clear rule for agents.
It's not enshrined in law, we know.
It's there. It's in the CI. The role of the agent. If you realize that somebody is doing something that you are not happy with, there's a form you are supposed to fill. You understand me? As I mean that you realize that this man is underage, there's a form you're supposed to fill, indicating that you have, we call it a complaint form. And at the end of the registration exercise, the district IPAC, which is all the political parties will select members or representatives, and they will meet to work on all those complaints. So it is there that you have to prove beyond all reasonable doubt whether you are really a citizen or you are not. So the fact that 5 people can guarantee, it's not the end. If an MPP agent feel that this particular person is not a citizen, there is an opportunity for that particular agent to fill a form and make a complaint that no, this particular person feel is not a Ghanaian, he's a foreigner. And the person will be invited.
But we know that in many border towns, it becomes very uncompromising or very much uncompromising if such situations should occur for it to be...
In most cases, if you fill those forms, the people don't come. If the person is really a foreigner, in most cases, they don't come.
Because they know they are foreigners?
Yes, in most cases.
There's been the argument that because we don't have a national identification system, people just want to acquire the voter's ID card to get access to a lot of things. Because that kind of quasi also gives them access to being some para-citizens, is that not it?
It's a fact, especially if you want to go to the bank to go and withdraw
because
money.
You can be a foreigner, once you have voter's ID, your passport may not even be asked.
Yes, and then you have you want maybe somebody send you money from outside and you want to go and take the money. The first thing they will ask you is the voter's ID card. So sometimes if you are 15, if you are 16 years and you feel that maybe you have your parents outside who have been sending you money and they have to take it through somebody, and you also need these things. So they just go in there, ensure that they have the voter's ID card. But on the day of election, most of them don't go. That's a crowd. You see, sometimes we say the total vote cast against the total number of people in the police station or the turnout is always very low. We said 60%, 17%. Not that majority of the people especially those who registered illegally, are there. But they can't come out because on the day of election, everybody is watching.
Okay. All right, we'll have to call it a morning. And thanks for joining us this morning. It's been a pleasure having you. And we hope that when we call on you the next time, you'll be making yourself available. We've been speaking to Bright Demoji. He's a member of parliament for Botiano, English, and Manfro. And from now, you're going to the House, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. What are some of the issues you'll be looking at?
The Prime Minister of Italy will be in the House this morning.
Are you one of the government delegates who will be meeting him?
No. I'm just an ordinary member of parliament.
Will you be there as well?
Yes,
or he'll be coming to the House?
He will be coming to the House.
Great. What's his name? You can't remember now.
Yes.
Okay. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll have a lot more to talk about. Next, we're going to have Miss G in the studio to give us a lot more tidbit from the world of entertainment. And so if you want to stay tuned, you should also know it's brought to you by Airtel.